Okay, so hey guys, and welcome back to another predictions video, and in today's video I'm going to be predicting the Robertson versus Gallardo fight. If you're new around here though and you haven't yet subscribed, please do so, like the video if you do indeed like the video, and let's get straight into it. So, going into this fight, Robertson is 9-1 with 2 KOs and Gallardo is 14-2 with 6 KOs. This fight is for the IBO World Super Flyweight title. Robertson's last fight was a win via a unanimous decision versus Yesteri, and Gallardo's last fight was a no contest versus Rivera. Gallardo is the former IBO World Flyweight Champion. This is in Robertson's home country of Australia, and Robertson's loss came via split decision versus O'Connell in 2021. And to speak a bit more about what I've just mentioned there, obviously this for the, like I mentioned, IBO World title. It's a return to that of world title contention, battling, I suppose, if the right way to put it, for Gallardo, and new opportunity, I suppose, for Robertson. She has fought, like I mentioned, O'Connell in the past, and that was a very impressive and probably the toughest opponent that either of these two have faced combined fight. And she almost, like I say, split decision, almost won. But you know, since then she's not really let that loss affect her too much, and she's come back from there, and now she's back fighting for world championships here. And it's a great fight, this one, on paper. I think it's going to be a very entertaining fight, and if you've seen any of Gallardo's fights, you should know that she does kind of come for a fight, and she will be up for a fight, and that's what's going to make this entertaining. And Robertson, she is a relatively seasoned amateur. She fought, I believe, in the Commonwealth Games, and she had a decent background, and like I mentioned, she is this big talent coming through for women's boxing in Australia. And so, you know, like I mentioned, I feel like this is going to be an entertaining fight, and I thought I'd come on here and do my prediction for it. So, like I mentioned, obviously Robertson's home country of Australia, so she's used to fighting there now, and she's used to having that added pressure onto her. But credit to Gallardo, typical kind of Mexican type fashion of coming in as the away fighter, wanting to cause the upset. Very similar style to that of what you imagine a typical Mexican fighter to have, but very entertaining one in the process as well. But to speak about their styles and their attributes, Robertson as a fighter, she finds angles very well. She's got very fast hands. That's something which I'm very impressed when I've seen her fight. The speed in the hands that she throws, and the solid defensive movement as well. With the speed in general, she's a fast fighter, and she's got them fast combinations as well. And when she is most typically throwing in combinations a lot of the time, it's nice to see. It can be, you know, I'll speak about negatives in a moment, but it is a nice attribute to have. And when she does get her long straight shots together as well to pair up in her combinations, and it is also, it's nice to see it's clean and tidy boxing. She's a mid-range type fighter. I think that's where she does a lot of her best work. She pivots very well. Like I say, when she moves well, she does pivot well. She outworks you. She has a high output. She has a good work rate. She can go all the rounds if she needs to. But like I mentioned, she has that high output, the outworking type mentality, and overall, like I say, a clean, nice boxer. And she hasn't got crazy amounts of power, but what she does, she kind of makes up for that with the, like I say, the speed, the ability to be able to find angles and land clean, impressive shots. Negatives, I suppose, about her, headhunting can be a bit of a problem at times. I feel like when she does go to the body, it can be nice and it does look nice, but she doesn't always use it as much as I probably like her to, and she does, in my opinion, headhunt a little bit, and sometimes she forgets the jab, forgets her long straight shots. I think when she gets them going, it's some of her best shots, and she does some of her best work off of it, but at times she can forget her jab and forget that distance, and can kind of lead to her kind of being drawn into a bit of a war type fight, a bit of a brawl type fight, and that's definitely what Gallardo would want from this fight. And if Robertson is going to stand and just willingly do that, with her possibly not being quite as good, in my opinion, in the close ranges as Gallardo, I think it's going to be interesting to see. The accuracy from her in close can become a little bit messy. She sometimes pushes her shots through instead of trying to. She doesn't really push them through with power. She kind of just like puts her arm out there and just tries to force you away, and just kind of leaves her arm out there. And it means you can get countered doing that. You can get the ref telling you off doing that. It's not really something that you want to be doing. She's got quite a weak guard. chin in the air sometimes at times. She can sometimes seem a little bit uncomfortable. Possibly that's why she does do the thing where she just sticks her arm out and just kind of hopes that you walk onto that arm, and then she just leaves it there. Timing, it's good sometimes, but it isn't always amazing. She can be kind of wild with her shots and have them wide arm hooks, which aren't always the best. When I say arm hooks, it means that she's probably not putting her whole body into them, and she's throwing them, like just flinging them out a little bit. And you know, like I mentioned, when their combinations coming together, nonetheless they still are fast and they still are most probably landing. They probably are quite clean, but it's just, it can sap a lot of the power out of them and it can make it look a little bit messy. But speak about Gallardo as a fighter, she's got good body work. She really does like going to the body a lot, and when she is in close, which she is an in close type fighter, she's a front foot, aggressive, in close type fighter like I mentioned. Entertaining style, traditional, when you think of a Mexican type style, that's what you kind of think of, and she's most definitely got that. She wants to fight, she wants to brawl, so she's going to try and drag Robertson into that, of course. She sits down on her shots quite well. She seemingly will sit down on her shots from the very get-go, and she kind of does her thing where she'll double up on her shots quite nicely. She'll go to the body, switch that up, go to the head with her hooks. It is nice. She's in your face. She's very physical with her work, and she will try and push you back and try and be that force. And Robertson, I imagine, is going to be the taller fighter for this one. I don't know the exact stats, but I'd imagine is going to be the taller fighter. So I'd like to see her, you know, use them long shots, try and keep Gallardo away, and try and not let Gallardo put that physical presence, because Gallardo, I'd imagine, as the smaller fighter, she will have to come in and try and close the gap anyway. And so if Robertson, who does have, like I mentioned, good long shots when she uses them, if she can do that, then that's would be amazing to see. She is relentless, she controls the centre, Gallardo, and she does also have quite a high output as well. So, you know, two fighters that have a high output always spells a recipe, I suppose, for it to be an entertaining fight, and I'm sure, like I mentioned, this will be the case. The negatives about her: speed. She's definitely got nowhere near the level of speed or technical ability in general than that of Robertson. She is definitely going to be there to be hit. She has a lack of a jab. She really doesn't set up her shots, and she kind of does the thing where she'll just, if she thinks you're her and you're willingly taking back steps against her, she will just throw hooks and just walk forwards, just throwing hooks, and it means she's very much open to be countered. She's very much there to be hit, and you can definitely time her, but like I say, Robertson's timing isn't always amazing, and you know, it will be interesting to see how she deals going into possibly the later rounds if she does get drawn into a fight or not. Robertson, she'll walk onto shots. Gallardo, her accuracy isn't amazing. Her footwork is really not the best. It's nowhere near as good as Robertson. She can definitely stand straight on quite a lot, and the balance isn't always there. She's got a bit of a lack of a defense in general. Her whole thing is, you know, like I mentioned, typical Mexican type style, lack of a defense. She may rush in if she thinks you're hurt, and yeah, overall there's a lot of defensive, you know, errors and stuff like that that you can sometimes see. But these type of fights for development of fighters like Robertson, this is a world level type fighter, and this is somebody who has fought at a high level and is gonna want to come and put it on you. And it's how you deal with fighters coming and put it on you that will. It seems like every type of fighter who does end up getting to the top level has to deal with a fighter like this. Robertson is the favourite for this fight, and I think that Gallardo will win via split decision. I think she's gonna be the one, like I mentioned a million times, she's gonna be the one that's gonna push the pace, push the tempo, be on the front foot, be the aggressive fighter, and I think she's just gonna possibly outwork her a bit too much, and I think it's gonna be very difficult for Gallardo to get a decision in her home country. So possibly you could be scoring it as a unanimous decision, and it probably will end up being then given as a split decision nonetheless. But yeah, I can see Gallardo winning this one, and being, like I say, being the one with the higher output, being the one pushing Robertson back a lot of the time. And Robertson, I think she could start off doing her work well, but then get dragged into a fight, and then, you know, then Gallardo coming through from that. And I don't feel, like I said, I don't feel like Robertson has the power enough to keep her away, and I don't feel like she's going to use the long shots enough to be able to stop her from coming in. Then who she could go on to fight? I mean, a Robertson rematch could be a great fight. Like I mentioned a million times as well, this fight is going to be a great fight, I'd imagine, and if it is living up to the expectations, then I would love to see it again. Or Hirota, WBO champion, Macias, WBC champion. I feel like there's opportunities there for her to fight one of them two girls. I feel like they're all looking for opponents in this weight division at the moment, and if Gallardo is coming through as somebody who has that entertaining style, is willing to fight anybody, and is up for it, then sure, why not put him in with either of these two champions? I think the Macias one, I mean, Macias hasn't really been too active as of recent, but if she is willing to have that all-Mexican type clash, it would be a great fight to make. But yeah, that is it for today's video. Hope you did enjoy. Like the video if you did indeed like the video, subscribe if you are new, and thanks for watching.